I don't know if Ushi remembers, but around the time of his bar mitzvah, I took him to the Debrecen Rav, Zecher Tzaddik Kodesh Levracha. I don't know if you remember that. I don't know if you know who he was. The Debrecen Rav was one of the biggest poskim in the world, a very distant relative of my father, Olav Shalom. And we went to the Debrecen Rav. And I asked the Debrecen Rav he was an Oberland, a Hungarian, the real old, Chassidic Rebbe, a huge Talmud Chacham and Tzaddik. And I went to the Debrecen Rav with Ushi to ask for a bracha. And he said, so auswachsen zu normale Mensch, that may he grow up to be a normal person. So I looked at the Debrecen Rav like I had to come here to get a bracha like that. I was hoping, Rav Moshe Feinstein or to be the Chazanish or whatever, Chasam Seifer, something, a normale Mensch. And he saw that I was disappointed. And he said, Kulei hai v'ulai. Those were his words, meaning you'll be very happy. He should be a normal person. He should be a normal person. I think that was one of the greatest bracha that I could have ever heard. And I think that it's colored every exchange that I've had with people when they come to talk to me about Yiddishkeit, where I realized that at the end of the day, if you have a child that is not going to be normal, if you're going to superimpose upon a child an abnormality that is the fulfillment of your expectations and dreams that child is not ready for, nor is he being groomed for in the 5 towns of Bergenfield and so on, then you're not going to have a normale mensch. Thank God Ushi came out to be Bo Hashem. I mean, I don't know if he considers himself to be a normale mensch.
The jury is still out on that one.
No.
The jury's out on that. Okay, because nowadays to be a normale mensch is kula hai v'ulai. But I think that what this whole Indian, raising Ushi and all that we're discussing, I think that it brought me to have a tremendous respect for normale mensch, to be a normal, healthy, emotionally balanced person. I was actually at a bar mitzvah the other night of a Talmud of mine who's a Rebbe in a yeshiva, is a Talmud Chacham, and he's really one of the few that I actually recommended that he move into that world. He was holding by it, and he got married, and he has a Chassidic family, and he's living in Borough Park, and they made that move successfully. But to a large extent, when it's very apparent that this is something which is abnormal and not normal, and if that child is going to be able to end up in the world of Chassidus, it has to be something that evolves very gradually. I think that my experience with Ushi, that it bears directly upon those conversations, and I'm not ashamed to share that with them, to say that, listen, I've been there and done that. This is not for your kid. Your kid is being raised in Teaneck, or your kid is being raised in the 5 towns. He needs to make certain decisions on his own. You try to impart a sense of Kedusha, try to raise him in a house where he hears about the Kedushas Levi, he hears about Reb Tzadok, or he hears about the Tzaddikim, and you behave in a way that's exemplary to him, and then he'll make a decision on his own when he's older, but don't make him crazy, a normale mensch.